Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are going in depth and doing a tutorial on both the M1 and the M60's fire control system, as well as basic controls and movement tactics. So without further ado, if you like military strategy, tactics, and doctrine singing applied to strategy games, I guarantee this is the channel for you. So make sure you leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications because over in the community tabs I'm posting several links and references to our new series, which is where we're discussing insurgency and counterinsurgency. So with all that being said, I'm going to list and talk about the controls I'm going to be using, and we're going to start with the M1. So the first things first, if you hit the shift key, it brings you into this first person view. And if you hit the shift key again, it brings you to the exterior view. The C key is going to put you in the commander station. This is where most of your time will be spent, or it will be spent here in this first person view. Next thing to note is if you drag the mouse left to right, up and down, that moves your turret. If you hit shift, it just moves your head, but if you hold the right click, it allows you to swivel the turret. So let's start discussing the fire control system. So the M1 has a fully automated lead system. I was unable to find what that acronym stands for, or maybe that's just the name of the system. What that means is if we use the scroll wheel and zoom into this moving target, if we hit the E key, it allows us to laze the target. And if we slowly track it and then we hit the left mouse button, it allows us to fire it. So that sounds simple, but the M60 is far different. So we're going to hit E again. Now what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control E. That allows us to drop our lead. It's called lead dump, or dump our lead, which means our sight's no longer moving. So if we hit E again, as you can see, the sight moves. We need to hit Control E, and that drops our lead. So let's say we wanted to identify the stationary target out here. Hit E, we laze it. That target's lazed. Put a round in. We need to move up. But see how we lose that? Obviously, it'll take time for it to recenter, but if we just hit Control E, during that movement pattern, the sight becomes stabilized, and we can just laze at this distance. Hit Control E, it dumps your lead. Now moving back to the tracking the mobile target, what we're going to do is we're going to hit E, slowly track this, and it doesn't really matter like if you aim far up here, it's fully automated. So compare that to the M60, which we're going to talk about next. It's going to be far different. We're bringing this up, we're tracking our target, it's sending information, put a round in. Right now we're using our armor piercing, fin stabilize, sabot discarding, or just our sabot rounds. You have two different rounds. These main sabot rounds are good for like these tanks right here, putting rounds through. So hit Control E to dump that lead. We can zoom in and out. We want to put like a good sabot round through this tank. Also, it's fun to make, if we hit the 2 key, if I find my number 2, we switch to our high explosive anti-tank. As you see over there on the left hand side, the next round after we dispense of this round will be a high explosive anti-tank fin stabilized. It's important to know the two differences. While this game is fast-paced, your sabot rounds are going to be fantastic for dealing with tanks, but your high explosive anti-tank will be perfect for dealing with BMPs, BTRs. Sorry, I had artillery on the mind. And we're just going to put a round in. Next up, we're reloading a high explosive anti-tank. And then if we hit the C key in this mode, it brings up another reticle. This one, I believe, can be illuminated, but as you see, if we zoom in, we need to manually range our targets now. This does not have lead with it. So as you can see, we can pull up this tank over here. Looks like they're around 900 meters, especially with the high explosive anti-tank. What you'll use is you'll use your page up, page down. If your laser's broken, so page up, page down is going to allow you to adjust. So over there you see that 900 meters all the way over on the left hand side next to that tank reticle. You'll see that up and down 900, 1000, page up goes up in distance, page down goes down. So if we wanted to range this, we would put the base up of our target along that line. We'll say 900 meters, just about 900, between 900 and 1000. We'll drop to 900. We'll put our sight on, and we'll put a round of high explosive anti-tank through the front of this, what looks to be armor. A little high or a little off, but that's something that's a bit more finesse and takes a bit of practice. If we hit that C key again from this first person view, it's going to bring us back to our reticle. Obviously, that's just something that you can utilize if your fire control systems get taken out. Over on the lower left hand side, you see that Oops, hit shift, control E, lead dump, zoom in with a scroll wheel. We set 900, that's our current lays. So 990, so we're just about, 70 meters off. That square just means it's operational. If, let's say if we hit this Q right here, and we toggled restocking, I thought an F would pop up, but there is an F if you look at this arrow that would pop up if the site's functioning. So you have two little things right here. You have a square, and then if the site's not functioning, you'd have an F or the cannon. All the way over here, I'm pointing that. The arrow on the left-hand side, you can see that's where all our stuff is. And we're going to hit Q again, and we're just going to tab all the way to our M60. All right, this M60 is not the one we're going to discuss. It does not have the lead system. As you see, I cannot laze anything with this M60, so we're going to continue to hit tab all the way until we get to the correct M60, which is the M60 TTS. BMP, B70, T72, M1. Here's the correct M60. So like I said, use the right click to rotate the turret when you're in the commander's position. Hit the shift key to bring yourself in first person. So this one's a bit more tricky. So it doesn't have a fully automated lead system. So it's important that you track these units for at least 1.5 seconds so it fully registers. So if we hit E and then we begin tracking, it puts a round through. So hit Control E to dump. We start tracking, 1.5 seconds. All right, E, there we go. Lead compensated, put a round in. So you can be like, track for briefly, wait, we're reloading. All right, so if we ever come up to this, Control E, lead dump, and we just go, here's our movement target, E, fire. It's kind of accurate, but not as accurate as if you hit Control E, dump that lead, track for like 1.5 seconds, E, put a round in. It's a lot more accurate. So if you hit 1, 2, and 3, it switches your type of ammunition. So right now we're loading our high explosive anti-tank. So with that being said, this one also does have that manual sight. It looks like it doesn't have the way to measure. So over on the left-hand side, you may have to be like, okay, we'll possibly measure against these units. I'm not quite sure. I'm not going to talk about something I don't have a clue about. So let's hit C, go right back to our laser sight or our main sight. Track this target. We're at 1.5 seconds. Hit E, put a round in. Boom, perfect hit. Hit Control E, lead dump. Identify a much further target. So all of this is simple, right? We're just sitting in one stationary position. So this would be a lot more complicated if we wanted to, say, shoot. So how you move in this game is obvious. Let's go tab. We're just going to pick a vehicle that's way off in the back. It's just the WASD, right? Hold W, you move. A, D, like D turns to the right, A turns to the left, W, S reverses. Hit tab again. That's our tow. Let's go back to this vehicle right here. Same thing. But let's say we want to shoot and move. I really want my M1. Can I please, or we'll just take this M60. So what you can do in this game is you can hit that plus key over next to your number lock. So plus and minus. So if we were to hit the minus key, it's going to reduce our speed, but if we hit the plus key, it automatically moves us forward. So we can control, maneuver, identify targets. Obviously, we don't have much space, but we can hit shift to get in our commander's position, kind of put our sights on someone, see if we can identify a target, hit the E key, laser position, put a round in them, way off, and then come to a complete stop. So that plus key next to your number lock is going to be super critical to identifying targets for you, or at least being able to maneuver around the battlefield. I would remap it to something on your mouse because we're in its current position. It's kind of way out there to be like hit the plus key. You want to move, so that's one key. I would definitely move to a better position, so that way we can continue to move. We can track targets, not really have to worry about too much, and just try and hit things, come to a complete stop. Always be on the move, because if you aren't utilizing that plus key, you're going to be like moving, dragging, doing like hitting the E key, hitting Control E. Overall, you're going to be getting quite the finger workout. So that's one thing I would make note of, or a strategy I would use throughout this game, is that plus and minus key. I know I've already discussed the page up and down. The next thing we're going to discuss is the thermals. So the thermals are under T right here. So let's get, here's our white hots in the M60s. Let's get back to our M1. Let's hit shift. Let's find a sight. Let's find a target. Let's hit the T. It's called night vision. Let's zoom in. Right. And then we're going to hit this target with our thermals. We're going to hit Control E, dump whatever lead we have. Hit E on this target, slowly track it. This one you don't need to really compensate or hold for 1.7 seconds. Little far ahead, but we're gonna hit T. T, go back to our M1. Please God, just take me to the M1 or the M60. Here's our M60 TTS. Shift to go into first person, scroll wheel to zoom in. Zoom up, identify our target. Here it is. Track for 1.5 seconds so it relays that information. Hit the E key. There it is. Track a little bit more. Perfect hit. Zoom back out, hit the T key, turn thermals off. Now if we hit the C, hit shift, hit C, go to our third person view. We hit, I guess it doesn't allow us to do this, and you should be able to turn the night sights off or on. The M1 allows it, the M60 doesn't have an external night sight, I guess. Kind of strange. Last thing we're going to talk about is how to switch the guns. It's the brackets key located next to your backspace. So over there where we have our cock style selected. So we hit shift. There we go. I believe it doesn't tell us its maximum range, but let's just put some rounds in right there, 1,200 meters. Let's see if those are going to hit. Yep. And that's just a real quick basic tutorial on some of the tanks. Let me know if you guys liked it. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope you found it fairly useful. We'll cover some of the T-55s and T-72s at a later date. Let me know if that's something you want to see. Peace out, guys.